Hello everyone. In this video we are going to implement store image service, which is going to allow us to store our images locally on disk and read them. Additionally, we are going to implement ImageAttachmentService, which is going to be used to manipulate our image attachment table and to save images in our database and to get them. Okay, so let's create a new folder. We are going to call it ImageStoreService. In this folder, we are going to create interface image, ImageStoreService. This is going to have three methods: read, save, and delete. Okay, public task string save async, and it's going to be all asyncs as well. Okay, it's going to accept data. It's going to accept bytes, data, string, main type. It's going to accept the type of the image and also going to accept cancellation token. So it basically accepts image in bytes, its type, and cancellation token is going to save the image on the disk. Additionally, we're going to implement same method to read the image, read async string path. So it's going to just read an image from path that we're going to give to the method. Public. Next, we're implementing delete message, delete async. Path and cancellation token as well. It's just going to delete the image. Okay. Next, we're going to implement class. We're going to implement local image storage service. Yes. Okay, so this class is going to be, this service is going to be used when we're going to store our images locally. In future, if it was a real project, we could have changed it easily. For example, we could have created another service that would save our images in cloud, like in Azure Blob, for example, and we could have just swapped it really easy in our dependency injection, and keeping the same interface. So for now, we are going to just save all images locally for this project because we don't actually need it, but it's a good thing to think about in your other projects that you maybe will want to change implementations of the services. So now let's implement this service, these methods for our local image. Okay. First of all, what we need to do, we need to actually create two variables, two fields. They are both going to be private. Yeah, so root path. So this is basically when this path going to tell us where to save our images, and another going to private. Another going to be a dictionary with that's going to map types of images to many types. Yes. To map types. Sorry. Static read only prediction is thing my tabs to extension. Yep, kind of this way, but we're not going to accept. I'm going to accept gifs and other in the other type. Okay. Now let's implement constructor with path, but we are going to use iWebHost environment. Okay, so just one thing. We need to add this item here because I created this app as a console app and it doesn't actually have the ASP.NET Core as web app. So we need to just add this item in order for it to treat as a ASP.NET IP, as ASP.NET web app. This way we're going to be able to use our web host environment. So this basically just going to allow us to set some variables in the another file and use it when we're going to host our web IP. Yeah, I hope I explained it. Okay, now we're going to create combined environment content root path. Yes, and here we're just going to create images and uploads. So basically what we're going to do here, we just set root path to what is going to where is going to actually save our images. Okay. Okay, now we need to create directory. Create directory root path. Here we just create directory, like folder in which we are going to save all our images and so on. Nothing crazy. Okay. Here, let's write our delete async. We just find path to the image by taking path, basically the name of the image is going to be here, and combine it with the root path, which we created in our constructor. After that, we check if the file exists. File exists, full path, and if it does exist, we delete the file. And we return task complete. If it doesn't exist, we just basically ignore it. We could have throw an exception, but I don't think it's actually necessary. So we can just skip it this way. It won't matter for us. Okay, next we are going to create. Next function is just going to read all bytes from the file, the image that we are going to give it. Yeah, so pretty self-explanatory. It just reads all bytes, I think, and returns them. That's kind of all. Here we combined the path to find the image, as we did here, and we give it a consideration token. Okay, next is the biggest function here. So far we are going to save the image. So first of all, we need to check if we accept this type, and we also, so here we check if we accept this time. If we accept the time, we're going to get at our extension. So basically, if it's going to be image JPEG, for example, we're going to get GPG here .gpg. If it doesn't exist in our dictionary, we're going to throw an exception. Okay, now let's generate file name, create version 7, and so here we basically use our ID generator to generate name of our file, and we combine it with the extension that we got previously. It's going to ensure that no files have the same name. Yeah, so we write all bytes async. So basically we just save the image. That's all we do here. And we return the name of the file. That's all for ImageStoreService. After this, we can start implementing our ImageAttachmentService. And as always, we need to start with details. Let's go and create image attachment. By the way, it may be a problem. Yeah. Here it's better to use user actually than just user, because there might be a problem with like namespaces and other stuff of like it's better to use actual plural here than singular. So it's just an observation. Sometimes it's not important, but sometimes it's important if it can really bite you, because there may be some problem with names. So if you save files, just use plural. If you create folders, it's better to use plural. Okay. Now create image attachment detail. So public record is going to have two fields. Is going to have public required byte data init. So it's going to accept two data. We're going to have two fields, date and main type. Data is just the image in bytes, and my type is the type of the image. This kind of everything should be. Next, we're creating get image detail, get image attachment detail, get image attachment detail, public record. Then we need to put ID here of the image. Also, we need to get URL and MIME type. So why we need it? We can just return bytes in JSON of the image, because it's going to be really, so it's going to make the JSON really big first, and next we want to be able to display it. Therefore, we're going to just return URL of the image, and then we are going to or put the image like in image tag, and we're going to put the URL there. We're going to create a specific endpoint, and that's going to return the bytes when we're going to request the image from our backend, front end. Okay. Okay. To actually, another thing that we need to create image attachment mapping extension. So in actual projects, we would use something like, in big project, we would use something like AutoMapper or other library. However, for our project, it's pretty small. We don't really need to use anything like this. Therefore, we're just going to implement our own mapper, which is going to allow us to easily map from our type that we get from our database to our data rows. So let's call it image attachment mapping extension. Public is going to be a static class. We're going to have two static methods. Get image attachment DTO to get DTO is going to accept image attachment, image attached, image here. So it's basically going to allow us to call this method on our image attached class without any problem. Image attached is going to be type, and here the row is going to be different. We're just going to say so here is going to be our URL. Later we're going to create an endpoint, as I said earlier. Yeah. So we just basically need to say image and path. So we're going to basically return URL with path to our image. That's pretty much everything that we do here. Next, public static. Next method going to just be to get the TO, which is going to be used on list of image attachment. So to get the TO list, I crush image attachment, select image to get the TO to list. Yeah, so basically what we do here, we just get a list of image attached, and then we go over it and call the method to get DTO, which turns them into get image DTOs. And we return list of this get image attachment DTOs. So after implementing our get image DTO, we can start implementing the service. First of all, we need to, as usual, create a folder which is going to be called ImageAttachmentService. And here we are going to create two classes. First is one interface and one class. First is going to be ImageAttachmentService. So, and it's going to have the following methods: create and delete, pretty basic. Public, yes. save image attachment. No, we need task image attachment, and here we are going to create async. Is going to create image attachment.to. .to is going to take message. Message, and is going to also have cancellation token. And they're also going to have public big task delete. Delete async image attachment, pretty much what we want here. And the only problem here it should be interface. Yeah, okay. Image, create image. Just give, yeah, sensitive, so okay, everything is fine here. Now let's implement our service. Image attachment service. Going to delete everything and implement an image service. Now we're going to start to implement all the function, but first of all we need to have ImageStoreService. We need to add field. Private field is going to contain our image store service, which is going to allow us to actually save our image and manipulate them. Storage, we're going to call it storage, and now we're going to implement our constructor. Okay, first thing we need to save our image. Save image. Save async. Await. Date, main type, and cancellation token. Okay, and then we just need to return our new image attachment. Type image attachment detail. Image attachment path. Yeah. So here we just return entity of image attachment that contains path to our image that we just saved. It also contains message to which the image attached to, and also contains the type of the image. Everything is pretty understandable. And here we need to implement the return image attachment delete. So the reason why we don't need to actually save image attachment here in our database is because if we are going to save the message later on, it's going to save image attachment as well. So basically what's going to happen, we are going to create another thread service. In this thread service, and then we're going to save we're going to save the message, and this message is going to have image attachment to it. And when we are going to save this message, it's going to automatically save our image attachments that go to this message. Okay. Okay, after this, we are going to start implementing our gRPC server on C# part. It's going to allow us to communicate with our Python server. gRPC service. GrpcChatService. Okay. And now we are going to implement, as usual, an interface. iChat gRPC service public. So okay, and we're going to have the following function in it. So it should have make request async and make request as return token by token async. As we just basically need to mirror functions that we had in our gRPC Python server. Here, so make request token, make request to model, and make request to model get stream. Make request and make request stream token by token. So we need to implement these two methods in our gRPC server. gRPC server in C#. Is going to be, so we use task, which is going to return a message. We need to return our entity message because it's what we are going to save. And here we're going to make request async. We're going to accept message and cancellation token. Cancellation token. And next going to be make request token by token. So what we need to do here, we actually need to return something else. We don't need to return task, we need to return async enumeral and we're returning string here. Okay, make request. Actually, you can go and copy here. Copy. Make request. Make a request. Just return token by token. Okay, and here we're going to here we also need to accept the thread and history. So thread and thread, what thread, the identity thread. Using thread as of entity thread, not the thread for asynchronous programming. If we take returning collection, is going to be messages, which is going to be history. And basically we need to accept the same thing in our make request token by token, but except we don't need to accept our thread because we're not going to save message. We're going to return token by token and we're going to save our message in our endpoint. Here we do this and only thing is we don't need to async right now because it's an interface, and here we also need to enumeral cancellation. So why do we actually need enumerator cancellation? So normally when we use method with async, we can just assign cancellation token. However, when we're using async enumerator, it's a different story. because streaming methods are different. They don't run once and finish. They run a little bit at a time, every time you ask for the next item. That means that there are two different moments someone could hand you a cancellation token, when you first call the method or later, each time they ask for the next piece of the stream. Enumerator cancellation is how you tell C# if a token shows up in the second way, plug it into this same parameter. So basically we need it in case someone is going to cancel it mid-term when it's running or doing something. Okay, now we can actually implement a gRPC chat service. What do we need? So we're going to create class gRPC chat service public gRPC chat service implement interfaces. And now let's write everything. So basically what we are going to do here, we're just going to mirror our gRPC server from Python in C#. Okay, first of all, what I want to do, I want to assign variables, assign types that we're going to use. We're going to use message for message of our entity message and gRPC message from our chat message. Chat message. And we're going to use thread. Yeah, from our entity thread. Okay. We are going to delete it. And we need to have two private fields. It's going to be our gRPC chat client. Just it's going to be Gemma for server, the chat server, yes. And now we're also going to have ImageStoreService to store our images. To not store it to read our images. That's very important. Yeah, we're going to need to read our image. We're going to read from the images we saved. I'm going to translate them into binary. Okay. And just here we need underscore. Remember that if you have private fields, each generally recommended to use underscore and their name in C#. It's just naming convention. Okay. Now we also need to implement two private methods that we didn't define in our interface. First method is going to be map message async. What we're going to do here, we're just going to take a message which is our entity from our database and convert it into gRPC messages that we're going to send to our Python server. Okay, now let's start with private async task gRPC. I so hate. The only thing that I don't like about Vim motion is sometimes that I miss and it just goes. It just is out of focus. Task gRPC message map message async message and cancellation token. Cancellation token. What the message new gRPC message going to have the following here and return photo message. The last thing we need to do is we need to go from each image, and here we're just going to we're going to go over each image and going to add it to our photo of message. gRPC images attachment add. Here we're going to create new chat image attachment. Here is going to have this, and now it's going to have data. We're going to read from our read async. No, a second. No. We are going to take Google Buffett photo by string copy from get image read async. Yeah. So basically what we are going to do here, we just going to access our image on the disk, and we're going to read it and convert it to by string that we're going to send to our gRPC server. Task history build history async. And now we just basically we're going to build the history like we did in our gRPC server. We're just going to go through all of our messages that from our thread and going to convert them into gRPC message. Yeah, that's kinda everything what we're going to do now. Okay, we take Python collection messages. We're going to call it messages. We're going to say cancellation token cancellation, and here we're just going to go from wow history new history return, and for each loop, for each message, we're just going to add it into history messages at await map message async in item cancellation token, or no cancellation token here we're just going to set message. Okay, so we go over each message and convert into gRPC message. We're going to and add them to history, which we're going to send to our gRPC Python server. Okay, now let's implement our make request async. But first of all, what we need to do, we need to actually create our request, new request, await build history async, history to list, cancellation token, and user message equals just the message. Await map message async message cancellation. Yeah. Now our response, and now we're just going to send it. Response await client make request async request cancellation token. So we're making cancellation token. No, we need to cancellation token equals cancellation token. Yeah, so no. So basically we just make a request as we did in our program file here. Make a request, just basically do the same. We're doing the same here. And now we wait for response, and then we just convert it into a message. Yeah, here we're just going to say like user message. Because I want to. And here we're just going to change it to user message and user message as well. And here we're going to say user message. Okay, now new message. First, response first, role. We assign the role, we're going to assistant. And thread, we assign the thread that we got as a parameter. And next, we just returning it. Okay, so we basically just make a request and we convert it to the gRPC message that we got from our request. To convert our response to our entity message. That's all what we did here. Okay, and now let's do our make request return token by token function method, and then we're going to end video on this. Okay, try make request new request. We can basically just copy everything from here because it's the same. History, await history, cancellation token, forgot to add a thing here. Now everything works. Now we're going to use call client, make token by token, request, version token, await for each while response in call response stream build read or async cancellation token and yield return. So basically what we're doing here, we basically just return every chunk in this function that we receive from our make request token by token method. So every time we receive a chunk of text from our gRPC server, we're returning it here. So it's basically what this function does. Just goes through each chunk that our gRPC server returns and returns it as yield in our C# code. So that's basically everything what I wanted to do here in this video. In next video, we're going to implement our thread service and we're going to implement our endpoints. And probably at that point, we're also going to implement dependency injection and basically finish our whole IP server, web IP. So thank you. If you like this video, please subscribe and press like button. Bye.